Welcome to Marketing in the Age of AI, the show for leaders who want real results, not more noise. Join Emanuel Rose as he helps business builders turn AI from a confusing add-on into a practical advantage with clearer messaging, stronger trust, and smarter systems. If you felt the shift happening in real time, you're not imagining it. In the agentic pivot, Emanuel calls it the move from experimenting with AI to building with it, so it supports your team, your brand, and your growth. Let's get into it.
A few weeks back, the U.S. government pulled Anthropic's most powerful AI models off the market worldwide. Off. Ooh, Fable, we miss you. This week, the government allowed them back, and in the same stretch of days, OpenAI offered to hand the government a piece of itself, about 5%. Think about that for 1 second. The tools you build your marketing on are now big enough that Washington turns them on and off, and the largest lab in the world is offering equity like a public utility. That is the week, but under all of it, something quieter changed, and this one hit you Monday morning. The web that AI quotes when your buyer asks a question is not the web you optimized for. Let's get into it. Human in the loop. Let's see. So, in the last 30 years, before ChatGPT burst upon the scene, it sure was a little more straightforward. We could create SEO. We had some rules about how to do that. We had content hubs. We were able to even see the patent that Google used for SEO, 200 or so factors that were public knowledge. And we learned a lot about getting found. And in the last few years, it has changed and it has gotten more diffuse every time a new model comes out, and we have no idea what the structure is. We have some idea. We don't know the exact rules by which the LLMs are playing, but we have to continue to adapt, adopt, and exploit best practices of answer engine or generative engine optimization and stay dynamic. And what we do know is that answering the questions that your prospect has about your product or service is going to always be good content creation. And that's what I'm working on for myself and for my clients, continuing to develop good content. All right. Well, welcome to Marketing in the Age of AI. I'm Emanuel Rose, and thanks for spending a few minutes with me today. Here is what we're going to talk about. First, the week in AI news, and it was a big one, a record $500 billion of startup money, and 43% of it went to just 2 companies. Second, my hot take, and it is about where your buyers actually find you now. And third, the new companies and the money, who came out of stealth and who raised. And fourth, one tool I want you to know about, one playbook you can run this Monday, and a simple next step you can take today. None of this is about robots taking over. It is about you getting time back and pointing it at the work only a human can do. Keep that in your head the whole way through. Grab a coffee and let's go. Weekend news. Start with the model you are probably going to be using by Friday. On June 30, Anthropic shipped Claude Sonnet 5 and made it the default for free and pro users. It is close to their top tier quality at a lower price with a 1 million token context window, an introductory pricing of $2 per million input and $10 per million output. All this through August 31. And here's why you care, because I barely do. But a cheaper, smarter default model is the difference between running one AI task and running an always on agent that never sleeps. The stuff that was too expensive to automate last quarter just got a little more affordable. Think about the last thing you decided not to automate because the token bill did not pencil out. The weekly competitor scan, the first draft rewrite of 40 product descriptions, the support inbox triage. At this price, the math flips. So this week, pull up your not worth it list and run it again. Some of it just became worth it. Second story, and this is a strange one. On June 30, Anthropic said that Commerce Department lifted the export controls it had slapped on 18 days earlier. Their two most powerful models, Fable 5 and Mythos 5, are back online worldwide. Read that as a marketer, not a policy wonk. For 18 days, teams that had built real workflows on those models watch them go dark. Not because of a price hike, but because of a policy. That is a new kind of risk, and most marketing leaders do not have it on their list yet. I certainly did not, and I missed the fable. The lesson is not to panic, the lesson is portability. Do not wire your business so tightly to one model that a single letter from Washington can take you offline. Access is now a compliance question, right alongside price and quality. Third, on July 2, OpenAI proposed handing the U.S. government a stake of about 5% in the company. Sam Altman framed it as sharing the upside with the public. It is a proposal, not a signed deal, and no other lab has agreed. You do not need an opinion on the politics. I am not going to give you mine on air, but as an operator, read the signal. The people running these companies are behaving like they run public infrastructure because that's what it's starting to be. So, plan like the newest, most powerful model shows up with more strings attached, not fewer. We're here from the government and we're here to help, not. Fourth, this sets up everything else today. On July 2, Crunchbase reported global startup funding hit a record $510 billion in the first half of this year, more than all of last year. And OpenAI and Anthropic alone raised about 217 billion of it. That is 43% of the world's startup money going to just two companies. Nearly half, two companies. Here is what that concentration means for you. The tools you already pay for, your email platform, your CRM, your ad manager, are quietly running on the same few engines underneath it. That is convenient, and it's also fragile. And it is the whole reason I care so much about this next thing. So take those four stories together. Models got cheaper and smarter, access got politicized, and the money piled into a tiny group of winners. Zoom out, and the message is simple. The power is consolidating at the top, and the cost is falling at the bottom. Your job is to ride the falling cost without chaining yourself to any one player at the top. My hot take of the week, and here is where I'm likely going to get myself in trouble. SEO is not dead, but the web that wins in AI answers is a different web than the one Google ranks, and most brands are still optimizing for the wrong one. This week, a geo tracking company called SiteLens published a study with a blunt title: AI search cites a different web than Google ranks. The pages that Chat and Perplexity quote when your buyer asks a question are often not the same pages sitting at the top of Google. Think about what that means. You can be number one on Google and invisible in the answers your buyer actually reads. You spent years earning those blue links, and the machine rating the results is quoting somebody else. I have been in marketing for over 30 years. I have watched the rules of getting found change a few times. Phone books, magazines, then Google, then social feeds. Every single time, the people who moved early owned the next decade, and the people who waited paid full price to catch up. This is the same moment again, right now, with AI answers. The only difference is speed. It's not going to take a decade this time. So here's my take, and you can quote me. Stop treating AI visibility as a bonus round on top of SEO. It is a separate game with separate winners. The brands that show up in AI answers a year from now are the ones building it for this week, while everybody else argues about whether it's real. You don't have to believe me. Go ask ChatGPT the question your best customer asks. See if you're in the answer. That is your whole strategy meeting done in 30 seconds. New AI companies. Two companies came out of hiding this week and they sit at opposite ends of the market. First, Etched on June 30, they came out of stealth with a working AI chip, about 800 million raised, valuation around 5B, more than $1 billion in signed customer contracts before they have even shipped. Peter Thiel, Jane Street, and Two Sigma are backing it. They built one thing, a chip specialized to run the kind of models we all use, and they are aiming straight at NVIDIA. Why should a marketer care about a chip company? Because cheaper chips to run AI mean cheaper AI features and more aggressive AI pricing. This is the pattern I keep pointing at. The cost to run AI is falling, not rising, even while the headlines scream about spending. Falling cost is your friend. It means the AI feature you cannot justify today is a rounding error a year from now. Watch the inference layer. It is where your future software bill gets decided. Second, and closer to home, a company called Pi, P-I-E, same day, June 30. They came out of stealth and launched something called Front Desk. It is a 24/7 AI agent that answers the phone for small and local businesses. Bookings, reservations, customer questions. And here's the part that matters for us. They paired it with an answer engine optimization. So the same tool that answers the phone also shapes how AI recommends the business. That is the whole show today in one company. The AI that answers the call and the AI that answers whether you get recommended are becoming the same product. If you serve local businesses, you're going to meet tools like this inside your clients' accounts very soon. Better to bring it to them than to have them find it without you. Follow the money. Let's follow the money because it tells you where this is all heading. Etched, the chip company I just mentioned, is the big one. About 800 million raised, roughly a 5 billion valuation, and more than $1 billion in contracts before shipping. The market is paying up for anyone who can run AI cheaper than the current leader. Next, Venice AI. On July 1, they raised a 65 million Series A led by Dragonfly at a 1B valuation. That makes them a unicorn on their first outside round. The pitch is privacy first, access to more than 200 models without storing or watching your data. Founder is Eric Voorhees, and the company says it's already profitable. Write that one down if you handle client data. Privacy first is not a nice to have in a regulated account, is the thing that lets you say yes to the deal. Third, Equilibrate Technologies out of Prague. They raised a Series A led by Creandum at a valuation around 500 million, described as Creandum's largest single check ever. Three former DeepMind researchers took the techniques that beat humans at poker and pointed them at trading for hedge funds. Notice the pattern. $500 million for AI that acts, not just AI that writes. And fourth, Pi, the local business company, a $19 million Series A led by Lightspeed, about 23 million total. Small round next to the others, but it tells you venture money is chasing the Main Street AI, not just the frontier labs. So the money says two things this week: run AI cheaper and build AI that takes action. Keep them both in mind when you plan your next 90 days. New AI tools worth knowing. Two tools, quick hits. First, Image Kit. On June 29, they launched creative automation with AI Assist inside their asset platform. It lets your team generate on-brand campaign visuals at scale. banners, social creative, catalog, images, ad variations, all from governed brand templates. AI Assist spins the variations and then tests the versions from a plain language prompt. If your team still exports one size at a time for every channel, this is the grind it kills. One governed source, many on brand variants, and more manual resizing marathon. No more manual resizing marathon on a Friday afternoon. Second, and this is the one I want you to write down, it's SiteLens. It's a GEO platform that is generative engine optimization. You feed it the real questions your buyer asks, and it checks whether you show up across ChatGPT, Perplexity, Claude, Gemini, and Google's AI overviews. Gives you a visibility score. It shows you which competitor is getting cited instead of you, and it hands you the list of source pages you would need to earn the citation. There is a free plan to start. And notice, two of the biggest items today, Pi and SiteLens, are pointing at the same shift. It's not enough to have a website anymore. You have to be the answer the AI gives. That is the scoreboard you did not have last year in the answer or invisible. Well, let me give you something you can run this Monday. A weekly AI search visibility check. Call it your GEO audit. Here's the real number behind why this matters. HubSpot's State of Marketing 2026 report found that 67% of marketing teams say AI now saves them 10 or more hours a week. 10 hours. This playbook is how you claim some of that back and point it at getting found. 5 steps. Write down the 10 questions your best buyers actually ask before they buy. Run those 10 questions through a GEO tracker across chat and the others. Mark where you show up, where a competitor shows up, and where nobody gets cited. For every question where you are missing, pull the pages the AI did quote. And those pages plus your own thin page to a relatively inexpensive agentic model like Claude Sonnet 5. Ask it to draft the exact additions that would earn the citation. A clear answer up top, a definition, a comparison, real numbers. 5, publish the fix. Then rerun the same 10 questions next Monday. Watch and see if the score moves. Why does this work? Because AI engines quote the sources that answer the question directly and cleanly. Most of your pages were written to rank, not to answer. They bury the answer 3 scrolls down under a story about your founder. The fix is almost always the same. Put the answer at the top, say it plainly, back it up with a number. One warning, don't try to fix all 10 questions at once. Pick the 3 where a buyer is closest to pulling out a credit card. Fix those first. Small, done every Monday. Beats big and never. 30 minutes a week to stop being invisible, and the answers your buyers trust. All right, well, here's the one thing I want you to carry out of here today. The web that wins in AI answers is a different web. Go find out if you are on it. Picture it. 6 months from now, a buyer asks ChatGPT who to hire in your category, and your name is in the answer. That is not luck. That is the work you start this week. And here's the honest cost of waiting. If you sit this one out, your competitor becomes the default answer, and default answers are very hard to unseat. Being early is the whole edge. If you want help getting cited inside AI answers, instead of guessing, that is what Geo Rewriter does. It's a generative engine optimization platform for creating content that AI engines actually quote. It is built for content marketers and in-house SEO teams that are making the shift to AI for search. You can see it at GEORWRITR.com. And here's my ask. Send me your questions on LinkedIn this week. The best ones become listener questions on a future show. I hope you found some value out of this show today. If you did, please refer a colleague who is trying to figure out AI and have them listen as well. Thanks for spending some time with me. Now go do something with AI today. Say.
Thanks for listening to Marketing in the Age of AI.
Be sure to subscribe wherever you heard this podcast so you never miss a future episode. Your copy of Authentic Marketing in the Age of AI is available at Amazon.com or EmanuelRose.com. You can also connect with Emanuel on LinkedIn.